Every now and then, you hear the Wheel of Fortune swivels around the bend in such a way that we end up munching on those rag-to-riches stories that really give us a lot of hope for the future. And it is not just good marketing or anything. Let's be honest. Why would we not want to be happy to know about the story of someone whose life changed? Call it the Lady Luck or a turn of events. We find it really amazing how things can change for the good so suddenly when we're least expecting that to happen. Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another amazing episode of your favorite channel, Trending Trove. In today's episode of Trending Trove, we're going to feature 10 of the luckiest finds that made people rich. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and make sure that you never have to miss out on all the good stuff we have. Number 10. Magnolias on gold velvet cloth covering a wall hole. So, you have a hole in your wall. You cannot afford to get the pristine apartment that your wife wants, but you want to make do with what you have. The wheels of life continue to roll on. In the meantime, the hole is really disturbing you and really doing a number on your OCD. You do not want to look at it. It is normal to cover it up with a cheap photo or a painting. This is exactly what an Indiana man did. He would later find out that this painting that he picked out in random because he liked it was made by famous artist Martin Johnson Heath. And guess what? The photo is now worth $1.3 million. Not bad, not bad. Number 9. 1917's Whiskey and Loft. We all try to cut corners. This is the frugal way of living. Brian Fite adhered to this way of life. He was saving money for central air conditioning in his home. During the struggle, he began inspecting his attic and replaced the wires. But what he found would change his life forever. Lo and behold, in his loft, he finds 13 bottles of whiskey, and they're not from this century and are over 100 years old. This batch of 1917 whiskey was valued by experts at $2.5 million. He could get a mansion with that number, pay his college loans in full, and still have a chunk of change to party. Number 8. Retiring on the Royal One. Mining is not an easy job. It is fraught with danger, and if you have worked for 40 years, you might have lost a couple of colleagues on the job. This is an occupational hazard for most miners, no matter the stringent safety measures that are put in place. Bobby had lived that life, and as he retired, he did not have much to live with but his last group of rocks. After selling his mining equipment, Bobby took 2 years drilling one of the rocks. It would prove to be the biggest find of his life. He called his precious opal the Royal One, and it fetched a hefty price tag of $4 million when it went up for auction. Number 7. Fisherman's Haul of 34-kilogram unfamiliar pearl. We tend to hear about deep-sea excavations which unearth lost treasures. This is not that story. This is a story of how unruly seas and a lucky anchor landed a poor Filipino an unlikely find, a 34-kilogram pearl. The fact that the fisherman considered it a charm and hid it under his bed shows that he was not in it for the money. He kept it there for good luck, but when it was estimated to be worth more than $130 million, his luck really changed, and probably that of the entire village he lived in. Number 6. Copy of Vincent van Gogh's vase with red poppies. Going through garage sales, a lucky couple found a painting with some good-looking red poppies. It was a very well-done copy of Vincent van Gogh's vase with red poppies. It was so good that it could pass for an original. And this is where this lucky unnamed couple got the idea of authenticating the painting. They hit the jackpot. It was one of 30 paintings Van Gogh painted while living in Paris with his sister. This 1886 original was worth $1.6 million. Number 5. Lunchbox aluminum penny from 1974. We have technology junk in our homes now, but a couple of generations removed. Our forefathers liked to collect things like pennies and stamps. Robert Lawrence was lucky that his father also had this passion and collected coins. The inheritance he would receive changed his life. The lunchbox collection had a pretty penny in it, especially one 1974 aluminum one, which was valued by experts at $1.95 million. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. You really changed Robert's life, and we only hope he leaves something of value to his children. Number 4. Lost Russian soldier. George David did leave behind a lot. It was enough to turn his relatives' lives upside down after his passing. He left a 1934 Russian soldier figurine still in its original box, in mint condition. Untouched vintage pieces are expensive, and they rise in value if they were made in a limited quantity, not to mention if they were made by someone as noteworthy as Peter Carl Fabergé. The Russian jeweler made the soldier in 1912 for Russian Tsar Nicholas II. Only 50 figurines were made, and this piece fetched a handsome price of $5.2 million. Why don't we have such relatives? Number 3. Trucker's Jackson Pollock painting. Have you heard about Jackson Pollock? You might have seen his work, which is the cornerstone of the abstract expressionist movement, and it looks like someone threw paint again and again and again on the canvas. If not, you are in the same line as retired truck driver Terry Horton. She bought an artwork for $5 in a California thrift store and planned to use it as a dartboard. It turned out to be an original Jackson Pollock piece, one that got $50 million in her bank account. Note to self, when in California, visit more thrift stores. Number 2. The Yosemite Plate Negatives. Ansel Adams traveled across America and captured nature with pure photography. His pictures have been published everywhere and represent state landmarks. If you come across black and white images of the American West, there's a good chance it will be an Ansel Adams photo you were looking at. But Rick Norsegan did not know when he purchased a number of glass plate negatives for $45 in 2000. These Yosemite National Park negatives were original works by the famed photographer and were worth $200 million. Not a bad return for a $45 investment. And who knew negatives were worth that much? Before we reveal our top entry, we request that you like and share this video, and thank you so much for watching once again. Number 1. Garage Sale Coca Cola shares. Sometimes it is good if you hold on to stocks of defunct organizations, and if you do, you should keep abreast with their history. Your due diligence before scraping pieces of paper might come in handy. It might be a tiring job, but it can land you millions. Tony Marone struck gold at someone's neglect. He paid $5 for a bunch of old papers, amongst which were 1917 certificate of 1,625 shares in Palmer Union Oil. These stocks gave Marone claim to Coca Cola shares, some 1.8 million of them, valued at $120 million. The bottle giants refused Tony's claim, and the two are involved in a legal battle to this day. Moral of the story: go to garage sales and thrift shops, buy what you like, and Google what you just got. Maybe your luck will change too. As always, peeps, remember to subscribe to our channel, stock our amazing library, and make sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments section.